Hi, welcome to the Comic Book Time podcast for the week of Wednesday, June 12th. The weekly podcast show where we discuss the comic books that come out this week. This week we have Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo's New 52 take on Batman's origin with Year Zero. Scott Snyder and Jim Lee's take are their new Superman Unchained Superman title. So what you want to do is you want to click on the screen. It'll take you to that part in the video in which I talk about that video, that issue, and that's how it's going to work. We're also going to take a look at some Marvel titles, the return of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's been on a hiatus since April, but now it's back. And we're also going to take another look at issue number 11 of Deadpool, written by Brian Posehn. So click the comic book covers, and it'll take you to that specific point in the video. If you just want to see it all in order, just keep on watching. Alright, so let's start off with our biggest book of the week, and I think the most hyped and most anticipated book in the Batman verse is, it's kind of the newest retelling of Batman's transformative years. I'm of course talking about Year Zero, the New 52 equivalent of Year One, the classic story from Frank Miller being adapted to New 52 now. Well, not adapted, but this is the New 52 origin. So what I recommend you do is read Batman issue number 0, if you can find it in print. And if you can't find it in print, you can just probably download it digitally. What really got me excited about this whole Year Zero is that the first couple pages really got me intrigued. And I definitely want to see how this event plays out. And I mean, Batman in like a post-apocalyptic kind of, it's almost like Gotham City is in a like I Am Legend situation. And I mean, seeing Batman just on a motorcycle like a fucking badass is just awesome. So after that sweet introduction, we go back 5 months ago, and we see that Bruce is dealing with the Red Hood gang from issue number 0. And one of the interesting things that I found about this issue is that he doesn't actually have the Batman suit on. He actually just takes like rubber masks, and then he just uses that as like a sort of makeshift. So he just has he wears these false faces during every single crime he goes on. So basically, no one knows his identity, and he can sort of just be anyone he wants to. He just actually has like a briefcase just full of like rubber masks. And just, fake faces like in the Mission Impossible films, if I had to reference it to anything else. And while Bruce is taking down, or even attempting to take down the Red Hood gang, we see that Bruce's uncle Phyllis, Philip, comes and he tells him that he needs to be part of the business. So there's that other storyline. We see some stuff when Bruce is a kid, when he's with his father in the garage, and then a villain surprise at the very end. And once you see this villain, you're gonna get very excited because it's a villain that hasn't been getting a lot of spotlight, if you will, and I'm really interested to see what Scott Snyder's gonna do with this specific character, and I'm really excited for issue number 2. That's why I'm gonna give Batman issue number 21 a 5 out of 5. The writing was great as always. Scott Snyder, hitting it out of the ballpark as usual. Greg Capullo, just great art across the board. Amazing. So let's talk about the next comic book that's coming up next, and it's Superman Unchained. This is the newest Superman title, and it's being written by Scott Snyder and drawn by Jim Lee. Both these two powerhouses coming together working on a Superman title is really good because Superman right now, the titles that they have, only everything except for, I believe it would be Smallville Season 11 and The Adventures of Superman. Only those exceptions are actually good Superman titles. So hopefully this title, Superman Unchained, is the definitive Superman title out there. So let's see and find out. So the basic synopsis of this issue, started from the beginning, is that Superman has to hunt down and actually disable a whole bunch of U.S. space satellites that are basically being hurtled towards the Earth at a very high speed, and the final satellite, which is called the Lighthouse, is basically this giant space station that was made by the Russians, Americans, and I think the Japanese. And for some reason, it's just gone haywire, and the reactors turn nuclear, and Superman has to save the astronauts and stop it from reaching Earth's atmosphere and essentially exploding, causing a giant nuclear blast. And then after that, we try to figure out why these satellites are fallen. Is it Lex Luthor? Or maybe it might be a new cyber terrorist group called Ascension. So there's a mystery on that, and Clark Kent and Lois Lane are trying to figure that out. Apparently in this issue, it's been implied that Clark doesn't work for Daily Planet anymore, which I thought was interesting. And basically, one of the Lois tells Clark that one of the satellites have crashed under the sea, and Superman goes to figure out what happened there, and he starts an investigation. And I'll just leave it there. The rest of the issue, there's a big kind of a cliffhanger, and it's a really nice cliffhanger, which I enjoy. Scott Snyder is really good at doing cliffhanger endings. That's why I think the New 52 Batman, the first issue, why everyone picked up the second one was the whole Bruce Wayne will die tomorrow kind of storyline. But anyway, Scott Snyder is very good at doing cliffhangers, and that's great. The writing's great. We also need to talk about Jim Lee, and we also have Dustin Nguyen on here, but we'll get to Dustin Nguyen in a second. So Jim Lee, coming back on Superman title, I really enjoyed Jim Lee when he did his run with Jeff Johns, and I think it was the first 6 or the first 10 issues of Justice League, and he did. I love the way he draws Superman. I think it's probably the best drawn Superman ever since probably maybe Tony S. Daniels' run on Action Comics, the very short-lived Action Comics. I felt like that Action Comics issue number 19, the art in there was great, and I liked the way Tony S. Daniels drew Superman, and I liked how Jim Lee draws Superman in this one. So the art overall is pretty good, Actually, even great. I mean, Jim Lee just always, putting his A game out there, and it really shows. And I also have to give a shout out to Dustin Nguyen, who does the art for the epilogue, or kind of the backup story. And the backup story is really interesting. And this was a great issue. The cliffhanger at the ending really got me excited for the second issue. I like where the story is going. I'm glad that Scott Snyder and Jim Lee are on this title, and Dustin Nguyen. Always good to be around, and I'm really excited. Some of the bad stuff that I didn't like about this issue is one of halfway through the first couple of pages, there's a poster you have to take out in order to see what happens in the next scene, and that's really annoying. I know you get a poster for the price of the $5, but honestly, give me a page with the poster compiled in a smaller font. And one last gripe, for God's sakes, why does Dustin Nguyen only have 2 pages for the epilogue? I mean, seriously, come on. That's the only two gripes I have with this issue. But anyways, I'm going to give Superman Unchained issue number 1 a 4.5 out of 5. A couple things I didn't like, those 2 things included, but this is looking pretty good. And our next issue is Guardians of the Galaxy, issue number 3. Still with the same creative team from issue number 1 and 2. So let's see that this project has been on a hiatus, and let's see if it returns well. So basically, it's been since April since issue number 2 came out, and now that it's June, so we skipped a month in May. So June, this week, we have issue number 3. Did it hold up? I think it was a very solid issue. I enjoyed this. The thing that really made this enjoyable for me is the dialogue between the whole team, and just also some of the Tony Stark dialogue is pretty good too. So as we see in the first couple panels of the comic is from the last issue, The Guardians of the Galaxy have been taken by Peter's father, and they're now on a Spartax warship, and they're basically prisoners of war. So while they're being basically put into, I think maybe cryosleep actually, they're putting in some sort of tubes, and the Guardians just stay there. And we see that some of the Spartak Elite Force go into their ship, and they look around, and they see all the different weapons. And it doesn't take too long until Groot comes and breaks out the team, and they're ready for action. They're ready to break out, cause some trouble, and essentially just go and steal the whole ship. The only really thing that happened, except in this issue, the only really thing that happened was them breaking out, and there's almost like this underlining conspiracy that has to deal with the Council and how the attack on Earth wasn't given by an order, but it just happened. So there's some underlying mysteries there, which I'm pretty sure is going to be explained in the next issue or further along. But what really made this issue good was the dialogue and the art, essentially. Everyone looked good, all the characters looked great. And the only really bad thing I have to say about this is nothing really important happened in this, but this was a fun issue, and I'm still enjoying Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's why I'm giving Guardians of the Galaxy issue number 3 a 4 out of 5. I'm giving it 4 out of 5 because, the art, again, was great. Writing and dialogue, awesome. Made me laugh. It's great to see the team interact with each other. And I'm enjoying it so far. Alright, so our next comic book is Deadpool, issue number 11. And this is Brian Pozane's, he's still doing the run. And we're getting very close to the end of this story arc. I know the trade, it's coming out in trade, and the trade is actually called Soul Hunters. And that's very well much the same thing. In this issue, we deal a lot with... it's mainly about getting the last target on Vetus' list, and we see Michael in hell and how he's going to try to break out. And we see the last target on Deadpool's list is actually very interesting because it's a shapeshifter, and we see different appearances by there's Luke Cage, Black Widow, and they're all being shapeshift. But what's really cool is that Daredevil makes an appearance in this, and Deadpool finally gets the last kill, and then something happens, which I'm not going to spoil, but the next issue is going to conclude this story arc. So what I thought about this, I thought the writing was pretty good for the most part, and the art was great. I really enjoyed the art. The really good action scenes in this. I liked how the artist did the action in this. Very good. Really nice use of color. This is what I've actually been liking about Deadpool, is the really vibrant colors, or just the shades that the inker uses. But some of the gripes I had with this, it's a little bit too wordy, and I could forgive too much dialogue if it's funny, but this wasn't as funny as the other issues, unfortunately. So all in all, this was a good issue, so I'm giving it a 3.5 out of 5, and I'm really excited to see how this story ends. Alright, and that's it for the show. Thank you for watching the Comic Book Time podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel to be updated with new podcasts every week, and as well as other videos on comic book releases, movie reviews. Speaking about movie reviews, I have reviewed Man of Steel and all the films prior, so make sure to check that out. And again, thank you for watching.